What I find even more interesting, though, is just how fast we're able to create those face shields. If we didn't have 3D printing and we just had to either do an injection mold or some milling, whatever it was, I mean, that's not something you can do immediately. But the other thing is we have an entire community that has printers in their living room, Ken, Adam, and I don't see that many people with a CNC machine in their living room. It's just the entry level for cost is just so different. And I think on a further, like a longer scale thing, obviously you can't 3D print every single face shield, but trying to get them boots on the ground, trying to get them happening immediately, it was amazing. It was like 1 week. All you do is email a file to all of your colleagues, and boom, you're making a bunch of them. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, I think that that network aspect of it is also really cool. It's I think often referred to as like a distributed manufacturing model, and I think that that's where a lot of these issues came from. Is that the virus started in China, and China is the world's factory. That's where pretty much every single thing is made. And so they shut down for longer than they would normally over the New Year holiday. And then at the same time, you had a massive demand for manufactured products like the N95 masks. And so those kind of compounded on top of each other where, you know, the supply chain was just completely decimated. And that's where a flexible manufacturing platform like 3D printing, because it doesn't have any molds or tooling, can really step in to fill that gap.
Yeah, I think the key thing to focus on is that filling that gap. I've heard hospitals asking for as many as like upwards of 350,000 of these masks by the time this is all over, and that's one hospital. That would take an army of 3D printers to come close to that number. So in the short term, while we figure out how can we get our injection molding, our urethane molding up to speed, it is a valid option for the short-term supply chain. I think we talk about, we were making masks ourselves, and I know some of our customers have finally got up and running so that they can injection mold and urethane cast these pieces themselves. And obviously they'll be able to do it at a scale that we can't touch.
Yeah, but even still, I think we've seen local companies pick up injection molding for these face shields, and that's a testament to the distributed manufacturing model that I think we'll see continue to grow over, especially the next few years as everyone kind of tries to recover from this, is that I would expect there to be an increased focus on made locally, made quickly, made custom. Those are all things that 3D printing is great at, but that is really what we needed in this situation.
But it's interesting you say that, because for so long that has been what people are talking about, is the evolution of moving to something where everything is custom, everything's made to order, everything is, you can create, whatever you want. But it might take something like this where everybody has to adapt and adjust in a way to overcome this. And when you come out the other side of it, then doing things like that are way easier to do, because you've had to build all of the templates in place to stand you up to do that. Kind of like we were talking the other day, my kids will never have another snow day. There's no reason to ever have another snow day, because everybody has the capability to do school from home now. So really, you might never have to have one, but you might also never have to just buy something off the shelf, because you can customize whatever you want, because all of these companies are going to have to be nimble to accommodate, getting through this.
Don't tell your kids that.
I know.
Kevin, it's funny. I heard this about a month ago, so before all this happened, but the reason most U.S. companies provide health insurance for their employees goes back to the end of the Great Depression, the end of World War II. Companies looked at that as a way to competitively differentiate themselves against each other, because there was such a demand for workforce. So they said, all right, there's more jobs, or more people than we have jobs for. No, take that back. More jobs than we have people for. And in order to get the best talent, they had to give them something more than just a salary. And that's where benefits came in. And now, 60, 70 years later, it's like a no-brainer that every company provides, or most companies, I should say,
Right.
provide benefits. And I'm curious to see what that thing that comes out of this, world-changing affair is going to be. And if it's on-demand manufacturing, I don't think that's a bad thing.
And is that something that CADimensions can take part in?
On-demand manufacturing?
Yeah.
We can sure as heck help support it. Yeah, I think that's what our bread and butter of the products we offer and the services we offer are geared toward helping manufacturers and designers do stuff quickly and efficiently. So absolutely, I think that's a big part of our future going forward.
And one thing that I think that we're going to take back from China is I saw some child labor going on at your house, putting some of these face shields together.
That was child volunteering to help a good cause, Ben.
Oh, okay.
Well, so what I think Ben was talking about before, because he and I being in the marketing space, we have maybe a different optics on it. But I think we were talking about the reaction of the maker space, like the maker community, to say like, here is this this problem that faces the society. How can we contribute? How can we help? And the maker space community just volunteered everything they had. Let's go. Let's start making these shields. Let's do whatever we can. And I think that the outpouring of that was just a really like positive light in all of this darkness,
Completely agree. I think the collaboration between the community and especially, as you said, the maker community has just blossomed in this pandemic, and it's really inspiring and pretty cool to see what can be accomplished when one person throws an idea out there and then it just kind of compounds on it, and people put in their input and people start manufacturing or printing in this case, and I think the printing community has done a really nice job of helping to bridge that gap between a critical need and when products can be mass produced.
So Andy, this kind of leads into our next topic, which is why we wanted to have you in here to talk about what specifically is we've talked about with the makerspace community, and obviously CADimensions being a service bureau, we have machines on staff. What has CADimensions been doing to help fight the COVID-19 battle?
Yeah, so we've taken a couple different approaches. One direct approach is we started printing visors and we sourced plastic polycarbonate for the face shields almost 3 weeks ago. So
pretty quick.
In that time, as soon as this stuff started happening and some word got out there that this could be done, to the credit of our amazing team, they jumped at it and said, "Yeah, we can do this." So we've been kind of on the front lines of producing the face shields. So far, we've gotten about 500 of them produced and allocated to hospitals across New York State, down in Long Island, in Massachusetts. We've sent some to. So I'm very proud of what our group has been doing to help equip the front lines in fighting this pandemic. Actually, I can share with you guys today, as of about 2 hours ago, we got word that we actually could find some more of the plastic sheets out of a distributor in New Hampshire. So we ordered more plastic sheets and looking to ramp back up and do another 500 or so face shields probably within the next 2 weeks.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. And I don't want to, look away from, obviously, Ken and Adam are a part of that team that helped to contribute to the creation of those shields. So kudos to you guys for being on that team, and thank you for your efforts. Andy, where do you see this going in the next 30 to 60 days? So you were just talking about how we're sourcing more materials and we're going to be able to print some more shields. Where do you see, either in our community of manufacturers or within CADimensions, where this is going to go in the next 30 or 60 days?
It's a good question, and I think it's changing by the minute, it seems. But I'd say confidently in the next 30 days, we'll continue to rely on the maker community, and we continue to contribute to that. Of printing the shields and trying to help out where we can, again, and bridging that gap. We have gotten word, a few of our customers, Cascade Lacrosse, PPC, R&D Design, Century Mold, a lot of companies out there are mass producing face shields now. So I think that's going to reduce the reliance on the 3D printing of them and the maker community of them, which is a good thing, right? Our job there, I think, was to bridge that gap. But now that we can mass produce them, at rates that are a heck of a lot faster and much cheaper than can be done on the 3D printing side. So I do think that other manufacturers that are not in the business of making face shields are going to jump on that and start doing what they can to help out. And hopefully this crisis becomes a little bit less severe for those on the front lines. A
lot of manufacturers are being, not just here locally, but nationally are being asked to do a lot of things that they weren't, 30 days ago. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how that continues to take shape.
Great point. And I think we've been talking a lot about face shields because that's the one area that we can contribute with 3D printing. But you're hearing the same thing about ventilator components or ventilator manufacturers. Actually, I just got word today that the Tesla factory in Buffalo that we support is converting their lines over to manufacture ventilators. And
that's great.
Actually, another customer of ours, Medtronics, who makes ventilators, said, here's all of our CAD data, here's all of our assembly data. It's open to everybody.
I saw that.
If you can make these, go ahead and make them.
That's awesome.
Which I think is unbelievably generous and so cool to see the humanity come out in something like this.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Andy, for your input, for stopping by, for joining us, and fun to have you on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate the invite, and thank you guys for continuing to help CADimensions operate and support our customers in a remote setting. And again, kudos to Ken and Adam for their participation in helping to make so many of these face shields.
Thanks,
Andy.
I've gotten used to working from home now. I mean, I don't get to work.
It's not
from
as
a
bad
bed.
as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
The first week was a shock to the system, though.
Right. I agree. And we kind of joked about it. What's going to be that big change after all this is done? I could absolutely see that especially for companies like ours, right, that need for brick and mortar office space becomes a little bit less important because we can be as productive and as efficient without it.
I think personally, we should just take everyone and have them work remotely, and then buy more and more printers for the lab. Just make the whole office is just a lab. Just throwing it out there. You never know when the next pandemic is going to hit, and we're going to need that quick turn whole bank of printers ready to go.
I'm going to keep my comments to myself, Adam.
That's probably for the best. No, but it's been fun getting to print some face shields at home. But I'll tell you what, after a while, the noise of having the printers running in my living room does tend to get to me after doing it for a few weeks and starting one print after another.
Well, we owe you some drinks and maybe some earbuds too then.
Yeah. Earplugs would be very welcome.
Yeah, I ended up taking one half day off of printing just because I had to make the machine stop. I couldn't be in the same room as it and work.
You two obviously are not parents.
No.
You develop a real tolerance for incessant noise.
Yeah. Again, my apologies if you hear a screaming baby on the other side of that wall.
It's a bingo at this point.
Basically. So this is like parent prep for you guys.
That's right.
It's a noise that you can't stop or shouldn't stop, and you just have to deal with it.
3D printers are basically children. That's at least the ones we have at home. Is the moral of the story. All right, thanks again, Andy. You're welcome to hop off, and we're gonna
you're a busy
run
guy.
through our next two segments. We know you got a lot going on.
See you, Andy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.